Hello, this is Jose Luis here at Parametric Camp, and welcome to another video in this playlist where we are developing a brain plugin for Grasshopper to do machine learning and access neural network APIs. All right. So in this video, what I would like to do is to set up the project. All right. The way what we're going to do is I'm going to start a GitHub repository. I'm going to clone that repository on my machine. I'm going to add a couple of files that I have already moving around for like what is the roadmap and what is going to be the changelog, etc. And then I will start a Visual Studio project for a Grasshopper plugin. We will make sure that it works. And then we will have like a setup ready to now start developing our components. All right. So let's get busy. I want to make this super fast. So I am here on our Parametric Camp organization. Remember, this is a community project. It's not just me. It's all the beautiful Parametric Camp community. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a new repository and I'm going to call it Brain Plugin for Grasshopper. A plugin to access AI APIs from Grasshopper. All right, we're going to make this public. It's going to have a README file, and then the git ignore template is going to be Visual Studio, because what we don't want to do is we don't want to version all the DLLs and all the files that are temporary and then we're going to choose MIT license, for example. I don't know. I don't feel great doing that as a Harvard professor, but anyway, probably not a terrible thing anyway. All right, so we're going to create the repo. And the repo now is here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on the side, and then I'm going to go here to where I have my Parametric Camp. Where I have my Parametric Camp repos, right? And then here I'm going to open a terminal in this folder. And in this terminal, what I'm going to do is I'm going to clone this project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the SSH, because I do typically Git over SSH. You typically probably are doing it over HTTP, or if you have a client, you probably just want to copy this link. Anyway, I haven't done my GitHub. I want to do a Git playlist at some point, so if you're watching this in the far future, maybe there's already a Git playlist that you can check in the channel. But in the meantime, I'm going to just git clone this project, and now I have the brain plugin Grasshopper, and I have the README, and I can open this README in a text editor, etc., etc. All right, so fantastic. So what I'm going to do first is a project by the Parametric Camp community. All right, and I'm going to add like a camp emoji. I'm going to add a fire emoji, and I'm going to add a holding hands emoji. What is the gender neutral one? Oh boy, I don't know. Oh boy, there's a lot of them here. This one. All right. So that's going to be that. I'm going to save. And then if I do git difference, you can see, cd brain plugin. So I'm going to do git, what is the status right now? There is the README file has changed, git diff. So it gives me what is the change, right? And then I'm going to do git commit am testing the commits. All right, so I'm going to git push, and then that has been uploaded here right now. So if I now update this, you can see that and I have the wrong username here. Okay, so let me change a couple of things. Let me change something before we move on. Great. The next thing that I have fixed my username when committing things here. So the next thing that I would like to do is I would like to copy the file with the planning and the ideas and the high-level goals that we discussed in the previous video. I would like to copy it and version it in the repository. So the way that's going to look like is that I have the file, I have it somewhere else. So now I'm copying it here. And what I would like to do is on the README, I would like to a list of goals and a roadmap of the goals of the project can be found at, and then can be found on this document. And I'm going to use Markdown here. I'm going to say on this document, and then the document is going to be, what is it going to be? Brain plugin notes. Okay. And if I do a dot here, you can see that if I click here, now it goes to that exactly. So that is working well. So now if I commit this, I'm going to git commit, git status. So you can see that we have a new file and we have the README, the modified file. So git add, I'm going to add all the files. So git status, so now everything is stashed for upload. So now git commit am added roadmap document. Okay, and git push, and now everything should be here. And if I reload, you can see the roadmap of the goals can be found on this document. And the document is here, brain plugin, blah, 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 everything. So, okay, so it's kind of working. Beautiful. So what are we going to do next? The next thing we're going to do is we're going to start a Visual Studio project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open Visual Studio 2022, and then I'm going to create a new project. And I have already downloaded the Grasshopper template for Visual Studio projects. If you don't know what this is, or if you don't remember, I have a video in our Advanced Development in Grasshopper playlist where you can see this. So there should be a link to the playlist popping up in the here in the corner at some point, right? So I'm going to open a Grasshopper assembly for Rhino 7. I'm going to place this in the folder where I have the rest of the code, which is going to be in the brain plugin here. So that's going to be there. I'm going to call this brain plugin, brain Grasshopper plugin. Okay. And the solution name is going to be the same, and it's going to be on the same directory. Probably, yes. Are we going? Yes, let's do that. And then add on display name, brain Grasshopper, component class name, brain plugin component, nickname, subcategory. Yes, we can, and then we can get some code, some sample code. So that's going to be fine. These options will limit the project only to Windows, blah, blah, blah. We're fine. And this is where I have my Rhino. So I think we should be good. And why can I not finish? Why and why? What is? So maybe this cannot be found. Rhino 7, yes. Okay, so why can I not? Why can I not create? Wait, what? Oh. Something here, brain. Wait, so let me remove this folder. And then I'm going to try to create this, and brain Grasshopper component, and brain component, and nickname, first component, blah, blah, blah. Use Windows form, WPF, Rhino. And I cannot finish. Okay, so please let me take a look at why I cannot create the folder, the project. Yeah, so this is the beauty of recording these videos live with in company of smart people. So someone in the chat actually helped me point out that the hyphens that I was using were giving us trouble. So I replaced those with underscores. And then when I created, so let me remove the. So when I created now the name with the underscores, everything works fine, even with sample code. So I'm going to create this, and now the project is being created in this folder, brain Grasshopper plugin. So that is, you know what? I kind of don't like this as a name. I'm just going to switch this to source. So I'm going to start over again. I'm a little anal when it comes. So I'm going to delete the entire thing and I'm going to start over again. Visual Studio 2022, new project, Grasshopper template. And then this is going to be called the project. No, wait. So Brain Grasshopper plugin, and then I'm going to place this in a folder called source, and this is going to be sample code, provide sample code, display name, component, etc., etc. And now there is a folder here called source, and then I get oh, that's lame. And now the project is called source. Oh boy. Okay, so maybe, sorry, let me do this again. I'm going to close this thing because I don't want the project to be called source. Oh boy. Sorry that you have to deal with this. So I'm going to start over again, create new project, Grasshopper, and then it's going to be called Brain Grasshopper plugin. Okay, and then the solution name is going to be this, and I'm going to place the solution and project in the same directory, so that's great, yes. And then provide sample code, yes. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to change the name of the folder. So I'm going to close the Visual Studio project. I'm going to call this source, all right? And then here, Brain, Grasshopper plugin, etc., etc. So I double click on the solution. And then Visual Studio opens, and I have my Visual Studio project here. Woohoo! All right, great. So can I start the project? So let's see, if I start the project, this builds and Rhino starts, correct? But then something that I will need to do is I will need to configure Rhino to read in the Grasshopper developer settings, to read the folder where the binaries are typically stored. So that's going to be my PC. What is my, so let me look this up here. So I'm going to go to the project files. Oh boy, where do I have this code? Oh God, parametric cam. Yes, so I have my file, parametric cam, brain plugin, source, binaries. And here in binaries is typically where Visual Studio for development, where it dumps the DLLs that are typically used as the binaries for the plugin. So I'm going to close this and I'm going to open now Grasshopper. And I should see some kind of new plugin somewhere where, yeah, now good luck finding this, yeah, right? HCF, this email, I have a lot of stuff here. J, R, D, V. Oh, wait, no, I'm not seeing it because because the default component is this thing, which is just like a spiral. So it's here. So it is being loaded. So that is correct. I just don't have my own plugin yet, my own categories, etc., etc. So can we quickly do that? So instead of that, we're going to go to Brain and we're going to dump this into testing as a category. All right. And I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to open Visual Studio. I'm going to now, don't have to configure those folders again because I already did. And then I should now get a Brain B here, B, testing Brain plugin, and I have a component that just creates the sample component. All right, beautiful. So it looks like my development environment is ready. So now I have a GitHub repository. Oh, let me commit this whole thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to git status, and you can see that I have an entire folder that is not tracked. So git add everything. And so I'm going to go git status, and you can see that I have all these new files that have been generated. All right. So I'm going to git commit initial vs project, and I'm going to git push, and now the project is here, right? So I have the source folder and I have all the components here, etc., etc. Beautiful. So I think we are now ready to start development. And probably the first thing that we would like to do is, according to what we did in the roadmap. What is the roadmap? According to the roadmap, what I probably will want to start doing is implementing some kind of where are this? What I probably want to start doing is like the more generic Git, the more generic HTTP post and anyway, we'll figure that out in the next video. Okay, so the next video is going to be the development of the first component in our plugin. All right, so stay tuned for that. Thank you very much for being here. Say hi in the comments, give it a like if you will, and I'll see you on the next video. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.